कवर हो जाएंगे। Hello and welcome to today's webinar on API Setu. API Setu is an open API platform from Ministry of Electronics and IT, Government of India. One of the major objectives of this platform is to build open and interoperable digital platform to enable seamless service deliveries across government departments. My name is Anup Kumar. I am Deputy General Manager with National E-Governance Division, Ministry of Electronics and IT. Along with me, we have Mr. Nirmit Mehrotra, who is the General Manager at National E-Governance Division, Ministry of Electronics and IT. So together we will be exploring how API Setu is transforming digital connectivity and enabling interoperability in India's digital ecosystem. We are pleased to have our audience here and we look forward for a productive session. Now I will ask Mr. Nirmit Mehrotra to give an overview of the topics that we are going to cover in today's presentation.
Thank you, Anu. So today we'll present an overview of the Open API policy and how the API Setu aligns with the Digital India vision. We'll also discuss the topics such as the introduction to the API Setu, key features and benefits of the API Setu platform, case studies and the success stories, a practical guide for onboarding and utilizing API Setu resources, and question and answer session. We encourage you to submit as many questions throughout the presentation as possible, and we'll try to address them as many as possible at the end of our session. Now I'll hand it over to Mr. Anup. Anup.
Thanks, Nirmit. So I will take you through a brief video on API Setu that will give you a fair idea about how it is contributing towards service delivery transformation. Can we have the video, please?
Information is the currency of the knowledge age. API or Application Program Interface form the backbone that enables interoperable ecosystem of data, applications and processes. API Setu is one such open API platform from mighty Government of India that aims to bring digital transformation. It is based on government's open API policy to ensure swift, transparent and secure exchange of information across diverse digital domains. It hosts a vast number of APIs that are published and consumed by various government and private entities, who in turn can develop user-centric innovative products for various sectors of health, education, business, etc. For instance, APIs of CoWIN platform powered several vaccine scheduling apps, which ensured that India could fight the pandemic effectively. Or APIs of DigiLocker are transforming document access, sharing and verification through various partners. API Setu connects Umang, DigiLocker, GST, CBSE, etc. Fueling India's digital transformation, breaking the silos and building together an information-empowered nation. APISetu.gov.in.
So let me start with the presentation that will cover all the aspects of Open API policy, followed by the evolution of API Setu platform. Let us begin with the presentation. So audience, as you all are aware that Digital India program has an objective that all the government services should be digitally accessible to citizens through multiple channels such as web, mobile. So there was a strong need for interoperable ecosystem of data, applications and processes. So the overall objective was to make the right information available to the right user at the right point of time. So let me give you a brief background of how this Open API policy came into effect. So as we have witnessed in the past, there were many e-governance systems that have been implemented with a focus on National E-Governance Plan. But these projects or plans were independent of the workflows, and various data repositories have been created. So they were facing the lack of interoperability among existing e-governance applications, like no systems were communicating to each other. However, systems were in place and every state were implementing their own e-governance programs. As a result, there was a very large number of investment in the projects, but there was no much visible impact was seen. So I'll give, in the next slide, I'm just giving a brief introduction of the APIs, how they have helped in transforming their countries. So on the very prominent one, New Zealand has achieved ranked 1 in the ease of doing business. All their government departments are interconnected. So whenever a citizen or a business, they go for availing any kind of services, so they are able to get their services in a limited period of time. Estonia is also one of the prominent examples, wherein they claim they save around 820 man-years of time annually with their X-Road API gateway. Similarly, United States of America, they also have a open API platform, wherein all the US government services are being offered through a catalog of open APIs. On the similar basis, in India, we have studied all these platforms and we have notified with the open API policy towards building a product for fast tracking of its enablement. So as we all are aware, these are few of the APIs that are transforming India. So Aadhaar is one of them. So the Aadhaar API is coming from the UIDAI, wherein in most of the applications we see there is an Aadhaar authentication API that authenticates the users, right? So we have the PAN APIs from Central Board of Direct Taxes. We have the UPI APIs that has transformed the payment ecosystem in India. Almost 70 to 80% of people are now have access to the electronic payment system. That is just due to the availability of the UPIs. Then we have the Umang application that is again has made a very much impact on the service delivery transformation. So if anyone is willing to access any kind of government services, they can easily onboard to the Umang platform and access any kind of services. Another platform that has made the revolution is the DigiLocker, wherein that is contributing towards the service delivery transformation in terms of making the documents available to the citizens. CoWIN was also one of the greatest example, wherein the API of CoWIN were made available on the API Setu platform, and many private players they have come forward and have helped India to fight COVID in a better way. We have published the CoWIN vaccinator APIs, and that has made a great transformation towards making available of the vaccination slots. Then we have the APIs from the Bharat Bill-based system, wherein a citizen at any point of time they can pay their monthly bills, whether related to electricity, gas or telephone, right? Then one of the greatest APIs we have is the Bhashini API that is transforming India towards making the translation and transliteration of the various platforms. So in a overall landscape, so I just want to start with a very basic thing कि एक API होता क्या है. So what is a API basically? So API is a very useful mechanism that allows two software applications to exchange data or messages in a standard format. So whenever we say a standard format, so that is a very standard format wherein two applications, they should understand each other and gives you the valid output. So these are the glimpse of Open API policy. So basis upon which we have launched this platform API Setu. So Open API policy was launched in the year 2015. So the overall objective was to build an open and interoperable digital platform to enable seamless service deliveries across government silos. So earlier, as I said, the departments were not interconnected, or they were not interoperable. So right on for that, we have to build a platform. We have to make a platform available so that the e-governance applications, they should start communicating to each other. The another objective was to enable quick and transparent software integration with other e-governance applications and systems. In addition to this, it also gives a promotion or promotes the API first approach that enables an ecosystem of microservices and related cost saving. In addition to this, National E-Governance Division and API Setu team also provides guidance to the government organizations towards developing, publishing and implementation of the open APIs. So this was the scenario before the launch of API Setu. So as you can see, there was lack of the API availability. The organizations or the departments or the developer lobby, they were not even knowing from where they will exactly get the APIs. So on for that, platform was made available, right? So the challenge includes the lack of proprietary standards and protocols. There was absence of common data standards. They have to establish end-to-end connection for API access, and there was a lack of central governance, common policy, control, accounting and monitoring. So as a result, it was very tedious and cumbersome task for the developers or the organization to get access of the APIs. So we came across with the need, how this need has evolved, why we require the API Setu. So the very foremost thing was the fragmented digital services. There was lack of standardization of output data, and there was difficulty in integrating various services and platform. So on for that, in the year 2020, we have launched this platform, API Setu, which is acting as a solution or a pain reliever to many of the other government organizations. So now this platform comes with a single platform to register and discover the APIs. Now you only have to establish a single connection for publisher as well as consumer. And it is governed by the common policy and governance structure and adheres to the industry standards and protocols. Along with this, we are also trying hard to make the data in a standard format. So as in my previous slide, I explained that there were many challenges with the output of the data. At some places it gives the data in the machine readable format, at others it gives the data in the image or the PDF format. So in terms of utilizing the API, if the API is giving the response in the machine readable language, we can always make much wider use of it. So as you can see, we are centrally placed between the data publishers and data consumers. So it is acting as a gateway in between. So now you only have to establish a single connection wherein you can join the API Setu platform and act as both publisher and consumer. So this is the proposed API landscape. So again, this is a more detailed version of the previous diagram, wherein on one side we have the requesters or consumers, and on other side we have the issuers or publishers. And in between we have the API Setu gateway with the OAuth consent and security and privacy protocols in between. In addition to this, we have also introduced the consent-based access, wherein the APIs that are listed on API Setu, they are getting consent from the citizen in between, and as a result, the data flows in a consented manner. So we have APIs from various domains such as identity and eKYC. We have APIs from academic services as well, through which you can access mark sheets, certificates, degree certificates and skill certificates. Along with this, we also have the APIs from banking domain, insurance domain, and we have APIs from EPFO and EPPOs, etc. Along with this, I would like to mention that DigiLocker is also named as the health locker, and the health services are getting routed through DigiLocker right now. So ABA ID creation can also happen through DigiLocker. So on the similar basis, these health services APIs are also made available on the DigiLocker, this API Setu platform. So in terms of benefits for open API platform, so first of all, it minimizes the implementation logic. Consumers can interact with and understand the remote services very easily. So the platform is designed with the Swagger specification and adheres to the Open Web Specification 3.0 protocols, wherein any developer or any layman can visit the platform. They can have an idea of what requests they have to pass in the API and what kind of response they will be able to get from the platform. On the other hand, it is also acting as a single point of truth, wherein it conforms to the quality and security. And along with this, it also follows the industry standards and reduces the misalignment between the backend offered APIs and the client consumed APIs. Along with this, we have also made available the documentation generation tool, and along with this, we have made the YAML generator available on the platform, so that if any API that is being written, or the specifications are written in a traditional way, they can be converted to the Open Web Specification 3.0 standards. So a YAML generator tool is also placed on the API Setu website, wherein organizations can get benefited. So if we talk about the overall benefit of the platform, so overall efficiency has been increased, and it can contribute towards the reduction in the cost. So as a result, all the benefits, whatever I have spoken, they gets translated into cost reduction. So this slide talks about the features of the API Setu platform. So as I said, so it is a single platform to publish and discover the APIs. So we have a dedicated API directory that's been placed on the platform. You can easily explore how many APIs are there, and you can get an idea what exactly you are going to get from these APIs. Along with this, it is acting as a one-stop platform for publishers and consumers. It adheres to the common policy and governance structures and conforms to the industry standards and protocols. Along with this, it is also contributing towards the standardization of data exchange. So this slide talks about the present statistics and status. So as on date, we have more than 6,000 plus APIs that are being published by more than 1,691 publishers. As on date, we have more than 600 consumers who are accessing the APIs from API Setu platform and transforming their service deliveries. Along with this, the private players are also accessing few of the APIs like GSTN or IEC, Importer-Exporter Code from Director General of Foreign Trade. So these APIs are getting access from the platform, and the private players are making a good use of these APIs. So as on date, we have witnessed around 3,093 million transactions on this platform, and this is since the launch of project in the year 2020. So on an average, we witness around 8 crore transactions or 80 million transactions every month. So this is how if you are interested to onboard the API Setu platform, you can easily onboard it using the onboarding SOP that's been placed on the website. So in the very first thing, you have to sign up on the platform. You have to submit your valid use case. So our team is there. They will evaluate how it conforms to the policy and how you are going to make the best possible use of this API. So once the application is being reviewed by the evaluation team, we usually approve your application, and you further you may subscribe to the APIs. So as a standard operating procedure, once you subscribe to the API, you also have to obtain the permission of the API publisher. Once you obtain the permission, based upon the direction of the API publisher, we give the access for the APIs. Once you get the access to the APIs, you have to submit the prototype that you have declared at the time of submitting the use case. Once it conforms to the original use case, we give not approval to this particular use case, and you may go live with your innovative product. So as a result, or as a feature of the API Setu platform, one can easily configure, test, publish, or discover the APIs. The platform conforms to the Open Web Specification 3.0 standards. So there are many authentication and authorization protocols that have to be adhered to. Along with this, we also provide space for the logging and monitoring of the APIs. And in few of the APIs, we have implemented the rate limiting and throttling policy to conform to the cyber policy. Along with this, the transformation and standardization. It transforms the data into machine-readable format and maintains and enforces data standards and metadata and schemas for information sharing. Along with this, as I mentioned, whatever data that you access from API Setu, it is a consent-based data access. Most of the data is getting access with the DigiLocker APIs that are available on the API Setu platform. To give a glimpse of the platform about the usage, so these are few of the foremost API that are being used in terms of documents. So PAN verification record is being accessed from the API Setu platform. We have the ABC ID, driving license, registration of vehicle certificate, class 10th and 12th mark sheet, caste certificate, ration card, and COVID vaccine certificates. So all these documents are accessed from the platform in a huge volumes, and they are contributing towards the service delivery transformation. So this slide talks about the top consumed service APIs. So we have APIs listed from MyScheme platform. GST and verification APIs are published on the platform. We have APIs from the Director General of Foreign Trade, Importer-Exporter Code Verification, HSN Code Verification, and we also have published the APIs from the leading mobile application, Poshan Tracker, which is from the Ministry of Women and Child Development. So this slide talks about the use case. So in terms of transformation of the education sector or the recruitment sector, so API Setu comes into the picture. So during the COVID time, so when every department was shut and the students have to avail to the have to go through the admission processes. So Delhi University came as a pioneer towards making the paperless admission process available. So they have accessed the CBSE APIs from us, and they have transformed their admission process and were able to admit the students in the limited period of time during the corona pandemic. So along with this, we have the use case of paperless admission process, scholarship dispersal, and along with this, we have this recruitment process that is transforming. I mean, there was a lot of time that was getting wasted, or they have the long recruitment cycle. So candidates have to wait for a year-long time to get their confirmation or the document verification. So now with the use of API Setu platform, they have transformed their recruitment process, and their recruitment cycle has reduced to around 50% of the time. So they are able to save a lot of time in the document verification. So this is another use case from BFSI sector. So that normally have their access from the authentication point of view. They want to authenticate the users, and further they want to simplify their onboarding processes. So API Setu enables Aadhaar authentication for seamless verification. So we have APIs from DigiLocker. So they are using the DigiLocker APIs from the API Setu platform and transforming their user onboarding journey. So lot many fintechs and security firms, they have come into to ask for the APIs of DigiLocker, and they have transformed their onboarding processes. Along with this, the APIs also provides the instant verification and contributes towards the reduction of time taken for KYC process, and this has reduced from days to minutes. Along with this, it also promotes inclusion that is accessible for both urban and rural population. So we have another great use case from the entity verification point of view, wherein there are lot many vendors that have to be onboarded on the platform. So as a result, they have to face lot many challenges. The organizations come to us, they usually express like they want to verify the GSTN certificate, whether the vendor who's coming, their GSTN is valid or is invalid. So that was a very prominent problem area. So now we have that API available with us that can contribute towards the vendor onboarding process, and one can easily verify whether the GSTN is active or not, GSTN certificate. Along with this, we have the IEC verification, Importer-Exporter Code Verification API. So that is contributing towards the vendor onboarding process. So with this, I am about to conclude my प्रेजेंटेशन, और मैं आशा करता हूं कि मैं प्रेजेंटेशन के माध्यम से आपको इस प्लेटफॉर्म की विशेषताएं, फ़ायदे और किस प्रकार ये सर्विस डिलीवरी ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन में मदद कर रहा है, इन चीज़ों को मैं आपको समझा पाया. अब हम तैयार हैं सवालों और जवाबों के लिए।
Thank you, Anup. So now we'll take the questions from the audience. Please feel free to type your questions in the chat and we'll try to address them as much as possible. So जो पहला क्वेश्चन है वो हमारे पास है मिस्टर नरेश कुमार from Bhubaneswar. He wants to know who can access the APIs on the API Setu platform. So Mr. Naresh, API Setu platform पे कोई भी गवर्नमेंट या नॉन गवर्नमेंट या प्राइवेट एजेंसीज आके रजिस्टर कर सकती हैं. दे नीड टू टेल देयर वैलिड यूज केसेस. जैसे कि हमने प्रेजेंटेशन में देखा, देयर विल बी सम सॉर्ट ऑफ अप्रूवल. वंस द अप्रूवल फॉर योर रिक्वेस्ट इज बीन ग्रांटेड, you can access your account, but to access the actual APIs like we discussed earlier as well, आपको उन APIs के जो डेटा पब्लिशर है आपको उनसे एक पहले अप्रूवल लेना होगा. Once you get the approval, then only you can fully start using the APIs on the API Setu platform. Yeah. So second question आया है हमारे पास Mr. Sameer, he is from Delhi. So he wants to know how can I access my class 10th results via API Setu. So Mr. Sameer, like जैसे कि हमने डिस्कस करा, API Setu is basically for business to business transactions. So it is an organizational level kind of platform. So as a citizen, as an individual, if you want to access any related APIs, you can download the DigiLocker app and you can even get your class 10th mark sheet results or other documents from the DigiLocker, and you don't need to specifically come on the API Setu and get any kind of approval or register there. Yeah. So third question हमारे पास आया है Mr. Shikhar, he from Bhopal. He is asking कि I am from a verification firm, and how can I use the API Setu services? So Mr. Anup, would you like to take this question?
Yeah, thanks Nirmit. So this is a very interesting question और मैं आशा करता हूँ कि हमारे जो भी दर्शक हैं उनमें से कईयों का ये सवाल होगा कि हम वेरिफिकेशन फर्म हैं और हम इस सर्विस को यूज़ करना चाहते हैं. तो मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूँ शिखर जी, डिजी लॉकर की जो APIs हैं वो हमने API Setu पर अवेलेबल करा रखी हैं, जहाँ पर आप कोई भी सिटीजन सेंट्रिक डॉक्यूमेंट जो है वो आप यूज़र के कंसेंट के माध्यम से एक्सेस कर सकते हैं. सो वी हैव अनदर क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम डॉक्टर उमेश फ्रॉम जमशेदपुर. वो पूछ रहे हैं कि आर देयर एनी चार्जेस फॉर एक्सेसिंग APIs ऑन API Setu. सो डॉक्टर उमेश, हम आपको बताना चाहेंगे प्रेजेंटली अभी कोई भी चार्ज नहीं है. जो भी APIs अवेलेबल हैं API Setu पे राइट नाउ दे आर फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट. अगर भविष्य में कभी भी चार्ज लगाया जाता है तो हम अपने वेबसाइट के माध्यम से उसको ज़रूर प्रकाशित करेंगे वेबसाइट पर, बट फ़िलहाल अभी कोई चार्ज नहीं है. अगला क्वेश्चन आया मिस्टर दीपक से जो दिल्ली से हैं. उनका सवाल है, कैन अ प्राइवेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन पब्लिश APIs ऑन API Setu? जी हाँ दीपक जी, प्राइवेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन अगर आपके APIs जो हैं दे आर कंट्रीब्यूटिंग टुवर्ड्स द ई-गवर्नेंस एप्लीकेशन और सर्विस डिलीवरी ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन, और आपको लगता है कि कोई और अन्य डिपार्टमेंट उनका बेहतर इस्तेमाल करके कुछ इनोवेटिव सोल्यूशन बना सकता है, सो यू आर मोस्ट वेलकम. यू कैन अप्रोच टू आवर ऑनबोर्डिंग टीम और हम आपकी API को पब्लिश कराने में मदद करेंगे. इसके अलावा एक और क्वेश्चन है निर्मित जी, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूँगा. ये मिस्टर अनुराग ने पूछा है कि API Setu पर जो APIs हैं वो कितना सिक्योर हैं और प्लेटफॉर्म की सिक्योरिटी के बारे में भी वो थोड़ा जानना चाहते हैं.
अनुराग जी, so API Setu adheres to the strict security standards. There are user authentication process, so only the authenticated user, only the verified user, they can access their API Setu account. And from the API's point of view, there is a encryption for all the API communication, so nothing goes in the plain text or in the clear value. And there are various access control measures that we have implemented once you log into the portal, so that you can completely configure your APIs and access them, or you can delegate few of the tasks to your colleagues with some access control measures, so that you have the control as well, plus you can delegate your tasks to your team members as well.
Thank you, Nirmit. So now we will be taking another question from Mr. शुभम शर्मा जो दिल्ली से हैं. तो ये पूछना चाह रहे हैं कि क्या आप हमें बता सकते हैं कि क्या फ्यूचर डेवलपमेंट्स प्लान हैं API सेतु में. So शुभम जी, आपको बताना चाहूँगा कि right now we are a API gateway. So at future point of time we are just envisaging कि हम एक सर्विस मैश के माध्यम से और भी ज़्यादा जो सर्विस डिलीवरी ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन है उसको हम लेकर आएंगे पिक्चर में, और आने वाले टाइम में आप देखेंगे कि ये प्लेटफॉर्म और भी अच्छे तरीके से इवॉल्व होके आपके जितने भी जो सर्विस डिलीवरी ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन है उसमें ये कंट्रीब्यूट करेगा. अगला सवाल है मिस्टर भगवान सहाने. ये पूछना चाह रहे हैं व्हाट इज़ द प्रोसेस टू टेक कंसेंट फ्रॉम कंसर्न्ड प्रोवाइडर ऑफ एनी API. प्लीज़ शेयर इफ़ एनी SOP इज़ अवेलेबल फॉर द सेम. सो मिस्टर भगवान, हमारा जो यूटिलिटी सेक्शन है API सेतु पर, आप वहाँ पर जाके जो हमारा स्टैंडर्ड ऑपरेटिंग प्रोसीजर है उसको आप एक बार देख सकते हैं, और अलॉन्ग विद द सब्सक्रिप्शन ऑफ API वहाँ पर कुछ जो डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं उनके डिटेल्स हमने पब्लिश किए हुए हैं. यू कैन गेट इन टच विद देम और आप अपना वैलिड यूज़ केस उनको आप बताइए. दे विल गिव यू द एक्सेस फॉर द API एक्सेस. अगला सवाल आया है मिस्टर प्रभनूर सिंह फ्रॉम कर्नाटका. सो दैट टॉक्स अबाउट कैन यू प्लीज टेल मी व्हाट आर द ओपन APIs दैट यू अलाउ द यूज़र टू एक्सेस, एंड ऑल्सो आर देयर एनी प्री रिक्विजिट फॉर द यूज़र्स टू एक्सेस द सेम. सो प्रभनूर जी, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल जैसा हमने बताया कि जब भी आप साइन अप करेंगे API सेतु प्लेटफॉर्म पर, तो सबसे पहले आपको क्या करना है, आपको अपना एक वैलिड यूज़ केस देना है. हमारी एक इवैल्यूएशन टीम है, यदि वो यूज़ केस हमारे जो ओपन API यूसेज को कंफर्म करता है, देन ओनली वी विल अप्रूव योर साइन अप रिक्वेस्ट, एंड फर्दर वी विल प्रोवाइड यू द एक्सेस फॉर द APIs इन कंसेंट टू द API पब्लिशर.
Anup, I'll also like to add on this point. So, Prabnoor, one more thing is there, like, it also depends on that department, कि उस department की क्या policy है. For example, CoWIN APIs. So, during the pandemic, CoWIN APIs were, categorized in different categories, public, protected and private. So, public APIs were totally open. Anyone can come and use with limited set of restriction. Obviously, you can't, have unlimited access to the APIs. With some rate limit, you can access those APIs and there were no approvals required. But for the other section of the APIs, उनके लिए कुछ approval required था. So it will also depend on the department to department. हो सकता है department ने कोई API दी हो जो कि कोई भी use कर सके. हो सकता है कोई बोले कि सिर्फ एक email के approval के basis पे आपको access मिल जाए. या you also may need to apply physically or maybe some form or whatever the case may be. So it depends. There is no fixed rule, but yeah, you can access the APIs depending upon which type of API that you want to access.
सो निर्मित, एक बड़ा ही इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन आया मिस्टर वैभव गुप्ता से. वो पूछ रहे हैं कैन अ इंटरनेशनल फिनटेक फर्म एक्सेस द APIs फ्रॉम API सेतु पोर्टल which is planning to expand in India?
Yeah. So Mr. Vaibhav, see, basically like we have been discussing all these APIs. So API Setu is just a gateway. We list those APIs for you to discover. You can check the APIs. However, for you to completely access those APIs, you need to get the prior approval of that data publisher. So suppose if there is any international fintech firm which wants to access any API from the API Setu, so whichever API that you want, you first need to first you need to go to that particular department, get the approval, and the moment you share the approval with us, your request on the API Setu can be easily approved, and then we'll be able to give you the access to those APIs. But without prior approval, you can see those APIs, but obviously you won't be able to test or use them as such.
अगला क्वेश्चन आया है मिस्टर जयराम तमिलनाडु से. तो वो पूछ रहे हैं किस टाइप की गवर्नमेंट सर्विसेज जो हैं वो API सेतु पर अवेलेबल हैं. सो मिस्टर जयराम, आई वुड लाइक टू इन्फॉर्म यू दैट API सेतु इज़ नॉट अ सिटीजन सेंट्रिक प्लेटफॉर्म, इट इज़ अ B2B एंड G2G प्लेटफॉर्म. तो जो भी सर्विस डिलीवरी ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन के हमारे एप्लीकेशंस हैं उनके APIs यहाँ पर अवेलेबल हैं. बट अगर आप एज अ सिटीज़न यहाँ से कोई सर्विस लेना चाहते हैं, सो दैट इज़ नॉट अवेलेबल फ्रॉम दिस पर्टिकुलर प्लेटफॉर्म. अगला क्वेश्चन आया है मिस गायत्री फ्रॉम चेन्नई. So, उनका सवाल है, कैन प्राइवेट कंपनीज यूटिलाइज API सेतु? यस गायत्री जी, प्राइवेट कंपनीज भी API सेतु को एक्सेस कर सकते हैं, उसकी सर्विसेज को लेवरेज कर सकते हैं। तो सबसे पहले जब आप यदि यू आर कमिंग एज अ कंज्यूमर, API कंज्यूमर, तो सबसे पहले आपको अपना एक यूज़ केस हमें बताना है, और अगर वो API वहाँ पर लिस्टेड है, सो बेसिस अपॉन योर यूज़ केस वी कैन डेफिनेटली गिव एक्सेस टू यू and you may further make innovative solution out of it.
So the next question is from Mr. Rahul. He is from Hyderabad. Mr. Rahul wants to know, what role does API Setu play in digital governance? So Mr. Rahul, we have been discussing, API Setu, it enables interoperability between the government and the citizen facing applications. It gives you an opportunity, to consume those APIs. You get that data which may not be, readily available elsewhere. It also standardizes the process in which you can, access the APIs, and the response that you get, the data that you get. It may be from different sources, but the data, the format, the syntax that you will get from the API Setu will be in the standardized format, and you don't need to juggle between the formats for different types of API responses. And since we are already we are listing all the APIs, we are letting you know what all APIs are there, what is the data input and what are the data output. So we are enhancing the public service transparency, wherein you know what type of data is being captured and how they are being used. So thereby, we are kind of making them transparent in the public domain, and letting you know that your data is safe, and that is how it is being used, and there is no other data processing or anything that goes on behind the door. So So the last question that we have is from Mr. Sai Prasad. He is a businessman, and he wants to know that if suppliers from whom he purchased are registered as under MSME Act, and so how can the businessman use the API Setu in getting the above? So Mr. Sai Prasad, MSME की जो APIs हैं वो भी API Setu पे अवेलेबल है, लेकिन जैसा कि हमने पहले भी डिस्कस किया है, हम डिस्कस करते आ रहे हैं, इफ़ यू वांट टू एक्सेस दोज APIs, फर्स्ट आपको रजिस्टर करना पड़ेगा API Setu पोर्टल पे, आपको अपना यूज़ केस का डिटेल देना होगा, आपका एक रिक्वेस्ट अप्रूव होगा, एंड आपको MSME जो मिनिस्ट्री है आपको वहाँ से अप्रूवल लाना होगा टू एक्सेस देयर APIs. If you have the approval, your request will be approved, and you can subscribe those APIs, and you can get the relevant data for whichever purpose that you want. So Anup, do you want to add anything?
So एक बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन आया है मिस एमी हजारिका, जो कि नोएडा से हैं. ये एक्चुअली लास्ट क्वेश्चन है जिसको हम अभी टेकअप कर रहे हैं. सो उन्होंने हमसे पूछा, आर देयर एनी नोटेबल सक्सेस स्टोरीज और यूज़ केसेस इन्वॉल्विंग API Setu? सो एमी जी, आपको बताना चाहूँगा, ऐसे बहुत सारे यूज़ केसेस हैं जिसकी वजह से बहुत सारे डिपार्टमेंट्स या मिनिस्ट्रीज ने अपनी सर्विस डिलीवरी को ट्रांसफॉर्म किया है. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी स्टार्ट विद द कोविड वैक्सीनेटर एप्लीकेशन, जहाँ पर हमने कोविड की जो कोविन की जो APIs हैं हमने उसको अवेलेबल कराया, और बहुत सारी प्राइवेट एजेंसीज़ ने वैक्सीनेटर ऐप के थ्रू आपको वैक्सीनेशन स्लॉट के बारे में रियल टाइम जानकारी दी, और आप अपना जो कोविड वैक्सीनेशन है वो टाइमली करवा पाए. इसके अलावा जो हमारा पेपरलेस एडमिशन प्रोसेस है, वहाँ पर हम अपनी जो भी एजुकेशन डोमेन की APIs हैं वो हम यूनिवर्सिटीज़ को प्रोवाइड करते हैं, जिससे कि वो जो भी स्टूडेंट उनके यहाँ पर एडमिशन लेने का प्रयास कर रहा है, बिफोर ही टेक्स द एडमिशन हम उसको वेरीफाई कर सकते हैं कि उसके जो भी मार्क्स उसने डिक्लेयर किए हैं क्या वो जेन्युइनली उसने ऑब्टेन किए थे या नहीं किए, तो उसका मार्कशीट का एक वेरिफिकेशन बहुत आसानी से किया जा सकता है. इसी के साथ साथ जो नेशनल स्कॉलरशिप पोर्टल है वो हमारी सर्विसेज को लेवरेज कर रहा है, जहाँ पर जो भी APIs हम उनको प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, दे आर यूजिंग इट फॉर रियल टाइम वेरिफिकेशन. अलॉन्ग विद दिस इंडियन आर्मी, उत्तर प्रदेश पुलिस, कर्नाटका पुलिस, इन्होंने हमारी सर्विसेज को लेवरेज किया, एंड दे हैव ट्रांसफॉर्म देयर रिक्रूटमेंट प्रोसेसेस. So with this, I would like to conclude this webinar, and we extend our heartfelt thanks to each of you joining us today. A special thanks to our expert, Mr. Nirmit, for sharing his invaluable insights. We hope this session offered a meaningful look into the API Setu's role in advancing digital integration for public services. For any further questions or any additional information, please feel free to reach out to us on our email ID apisetu.support@digitalindia.gov.in. So let us continue working together to build a digitally connected and empowered India. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Namaskar.